Alright, hello. This is totally going to be an experiment. Welcome to the Masked YouTuber. Hi. Hello. 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 Hola. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Hola. Hello. 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 Wow, what an intro. Okay, so what's the purpose of life? What do you want to get? What do you want to do? What is it all about? Like here we are on Earth, right? And we're doing things. We can go and do this. We can go and do that. We can, as we talked, you can push something and something else will come out of it and so on. So, but what's the purpose of that? Why do all that? What can you get and what do you get from all that? So, in other words, what is really the purpose of being here on this planet, living this life day by day, doing things, and just having these experiences that keep happening, right? Why all that? Here's why. In the last video, we talked about, well, we kind of started talking about the purpose of life and where this whole thing goes. Where does it go? What can we get with it? Um, and the video ended with a sort of a ambiguous note. There was this idea, well, okay, so what's next? What do you want? What's the purpose of it all? And here's what you want. What you want is a certain dose of uncertainty. So why that? Why uncertainty? This is why. That's where fun lies. That's where beautiful things in life are. That's where all the interesting things are. That's where the fun in life is. It's in the uncertain things. It's in the things, and that's really the whole point of everything in the world. That's what we like as humans. It's when we do things and we're not quite sure of what the outcome might be, but if there's an idea that the outcome can be great, if there's an idea that the outcome of this whole thing can actually be super amazing, if there's an idea that the outcome of what we're doing can actually be something that leads us to a place where we really want to be, there's something that leads us to a place that's inspiring, that's super great, that's super interesting, and so on. That's really what we want to be doing. And that's really the whole point of doing things. So I think people sometimes forget what is it about the whole thing? What is it about life that's actually inspiring and interesting? And what is it that draws us into feeling great things? And that's really what it is. It's just actually playing. It's playing just the way the kids play, you know. You have small kids and they're exploring the world and they're just going there and sort of just doing things and trying things, and they don't know what's going to happen. They don't know if they do this or they do that, what's going to be the result of that. They have no idea, but they know something else. They know that they're curious. They feel this emotion that they just want to try it. They want to play it. They're not afraid because you see, little kids are not afraid. People become afraid when they grow up because they have some bad experiences with things. Because things can often not work out, when you do something. But kids are not afraid. Kids actually go out and they do things and they just try it out. They just try something and they do it, and maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. They don't even want anything. And you could ask yourself, well, okay, but should I even want anything? Is there really a purpose to life? Is there really a purpose? Is it a purpose to feel good, maybe? Is that a purpose? Or is it a purpose to achieve certain things? Is it a purpose to make a lot of money, to be really um, a well-known person in a field of work that you're doing? Or is it the purpose to, um, I don't know, to have a beautiful family or to have a lot of great friends? These are all very, very nice purposes, these are all very great things. But the thing is any of those things actually really valid as a purpose to life? Can you say that some of these things are actually really, really, really valid as something you can say, well, this really is their purpose to life? Well, I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's more complicated than that, more complex. And actually, I think in the same time, it's actually much easier and not complex at all. What it's about is you just have you just have this situation where you're here, you're living, and there is really no real meaning to it. You have some time on earth to try and do something and see what's going to happen when you do it. And then you're going to find things you enjoy doing, and everybody finds things they enjoy doing. Some find more of them, others find less, but generally there's things you enjoy doing. And then you go and you just do these things, right? You go and you do things you like doing, and you just try to do a lot of them, and you try to do a lot less, or in fact you try to do none of the things you don't like, right? Well, in real life sometimes you will actually have to do a lot of things you don't like too, and that's okay. That's the reality of life. There are things you don't like and you're gonna have to do them. But mostly, what you want to focus on, you want to focus on doing a lot of things that you actually really, really, really like. That's what you want. That's what you really want, right? So, you want to focus on doing these things that you really like doing, right? And you want to do these things and you want to really just feel enjoyment from doing them. You want to just be there in the moment and enjoying that moment while you're doing it. You could say some people are calling this a flow state, the state of flow, right? And what is a state of flow? There's this idea that it's a state of total immersion into something. It's a state where you're completely sort of into the thing you're doing, right? And you're just into that, and you're just doing that, and you're just going at it, and you're just forcing it. You're not even there. You're not even human. You're just completely in your thoughts. You don't know if you're hungry, you don't know if you're sleepy, you don't know if you want to go to the toilet, or maybe you don't know what time it is. You're just there. You're completely focused into this flow state, into this different state of mind where you have the where you have the ability to sort of truly experience what you're doing through all your body and senses and mind, and you really become one with whatever you're doing. And I think kids are spend a lot of time while they're playing. They spend a lot of time in this flow state. And I think great artists or great business people or great musicians or whatever, great actors, I think actually all the great people spend a lot of time in the flow state. They spend a lot of time there because this is really where the power comes from. This is really where this immense feeling of greatness comes from. It comes from the flow state. It comes from this state where what you're doing is actually in line with your personality. It's in line with who you really are at that moment, of course, because it changes with time. But that's the point. That's what the flow state is. And what you want to be doing is you want to really be playing with life because there isn't really anything else you can do. You're here and you have some time to be here, some time to sort of try and do this and that and try and do things. And what you want is you kind of just want to enjoy it, right? You want to try things, you want to try this thing or that thing, and you want to see what's going to happen at the end, right? You want to try all these things and see what's going to happen. And I think the real interesting part of life, the magic part of life, the part where the magic happens, is the part where you actually have this big unknown, and you kind of have this idea that if you do this, something is gonna happen. You're not quite sure what is it that's gonna happen, but there are indications that what's gonna happen is going to be pretty great, right? But you're not quite sure if it's completely pretty great, or maybe there's just a little tiny option that maybe it's going to be a little bit hard, maybe it's going to be challenging. But this is what's interesting. This is what keeps you alive. This is what keeps your heart pounding, and this is what keeps you motivated and focused on what you're doing. That's what you want. You want to do things where there's a little bit of uncertainty. You want to do things where that are sort of experiments, right? And of course, you want to try to win these experiments. You want to try and win all these things that you're doing. You want to try and be in control and sort of be the person that is sort of holding it all together and being this super, almost godlike creature that is in control of everything. But you know what? That's not really real. That's not really even, I don't think it's even that desirable, to be honest with you. I think what you really want is you want this sort of ambiguity. You want this sort of, if you will, you want this sort of instability. In fact, you want to have something that's very stable in your life, of course, because it's not nice to be completely unstable. It's very dangerous to not have any stability in your life. But in the same time, you kind of want to have some stability, you know? And but you also want to have a lot of unknown. You want to have a lot of opportunities. And you see, opportunities are not usually opportunities are actually outside of the known, right? So you kind of have this idea that something interesting may happen, and then you do that. You do certain actions to make that interesting, that you find interesting, to make it possible so that that can happen. And that's what you do. You just say, well, okay, now let me try to do something and see what's going to happen out of it, right? So I just try and do something interesting and see what's going to come out, right? And that's the whole point. That's really the whole point of everything. That's the whole point of doing things. It's you wanna try and you wanna do something that's interesting and see where it leads you. See if you get something really cool out of it. See if you get something inspiring. See if it leads your life to a nice direction. And if it does, you can continue doing that. And if it doesn't, you try something else. But I think it's really important to sort of keep doing this. It's really important to keep exploring. It's really important to keep this spark of life and spark of the unknown and spark of beauty and passion of living, that really comes from the unknown, that really comes from the fact that when you do something, something else great could happen. It's a very optimistic, I think, point of view, and I think it's okay to be optimistic. There's no reason not to be optimistic, really, because in every situation something will happen, and what will happen could be pretty great. And you want to focus on that. You want to focus on the great possibilities that you can have in life. So yeah, I think I just kind of defined the purpose of this YouTube channel so far. It's gonna be me talking about certain almost philosophical concepts. Maybe I'm going to be talking about some thoughts. Maybe I'm going to be discussing certain things that are sort of right now interesting, that are sort of right now in the focus of my attention or the worldwide attention. Maybe I'm going to be talking about, just sort of maybe some very personal things that are happening to me right now, and I'm going to actually be sort of trying to walk them over with you and see what happens out of it. Maybe I'm gonna have some great comments from all of you on these things.